Friends of the social, good morning and welcome back to my channel. Yes, I shaved my head, but I'm still ugly. Don't worry, nothing changes. Subscribe to the channel to follow all this ugliness put together and to have a laugh with me. Every morning at 7, the video is released. Today we talk about misinformation. Look at how the car affects me. Look at the phone, whatever. Serial misinformation. Why? So, as a premise, let's set aside all the conspiracy talk. I'm not interested. I don't want to get into that topic. Okay? So, take it and move on. Why do I talk about serial misinformation? Well, if you follow newspapers, news broadcasts, television, in general, simply put, oh, but the television said it. If you follow television, you will soon realize, if you want to, that they lie to you. I mean, they modify the news as they please. And this is easy to understand because if you try to see or hear a news story about a topic you know well, it could be your job, it could be about a person you know, it could be about yourself, it could be about a topic you know well perhaps because you're passionate about it. If you try to hear how newspapers or news broadcasts tell it, you will easily notice that they modify things. They say a lot of untrue things mixed with true things in such a way as to lead your thinking in their direction. This is an objective thing. It's not something I make up, guys. I mean, it's not conspiracy theory, okay? Whatever type of news you delve into, feel it in reality, what it is in reality, and then you will see that what they tell you is completely different from reality. From the Ukraine war, my wife is Ukrainian, so I have news from the territory. With any type of news, you will soon understand that they are modified news. Okay. So, once you are aware of this, if you are still not, do some research on your own. Then there are sources from newspapers and news broadcasts that are more or less aligned with your thoughts, but all modify the real news and present it to you differently. Okay. This is a fact, not my opinion. At the moment, you know that the news is modified. Why do you still follow them? I mean, those who still today discuss politics at the bar, or discuss the war in Ukraine, or discuss news they know nothing about, but have heard on the news or read in a newspaper without knowing anything concrete. I mean, do you realize that you are having a discussion about nothing? There are people who spend hours and hours watching programs like Porta a Porta. I don't even know if it still exists, right? I have a friend who sometimes starts talking, why Maloney? Why he said that? Why he... But guys, do you really still spend hours and time discussing and talking about nothing? About non-news? Really? There are people who still do this. And what should we do? Shouldn't we inform ourselves about the world? No. The important thing is awareness. The important thing is awareness. Do you like watching the news? Do you like reading the newspaper in the morning? That's fine, for God's sake. You have to inform yourself somewhere, right? Even the internet has now been invaded by these things, and finding real news is difficult. I mean, unless you know people right on the spot, it's hard to get real news. My suggestion, my personal advice, is if something interests you, get news from multiple sources. So maybe you read a news article, listen to a news report on TV. The newspaper reports that news on the internet you find, news on that topic. Maybe you know someone who knows that topic well. Maybe there's some YouTuber who talks about it too, for God's sake. Maybe they are on the spot, not those who read the newspapers and report it to you because otherwise it's the same news, right? They simply report it to you. By putting together all this information, you can form an idea that still won't be correct because you start from a premise of many altered pieces of information, but you get a bit closer to what reality is, and you also develop critical thinking, okay? And that's fine. At least you try. But guys, we need to have this awareness, because I hear a lot of people here in the taxi talking to me as if they were absolute concepts about topics or things they know nothing about. Starting from the topic of taxis, which I obviously know well because it's my job, but any type of topic. They heard it on the news, so they take it for granted that it is a realistic news story, and that's how it is. Especially things that may be far from us, like wars, things we know nothing about. They take incredible news for granted. I mean, even the Ukraine-Russia war, if you listen to the news from the pro-American side, it's all about Putin being the bad guy. Obviously, if you listen to the other Sino-Russian side, Putin is good. It's the Ukrainians who, if you then listen to Ukrainian sources, the situation is even different. So, guys, a point of reflection for the morning. You know I don't teach anything to anyone, for God's sake. Not all information is real news. On this, awareness is needed. Always put doubt, even on something you've heard from multiple sources of information, if you haven't experienced it firsthand. If you haven't experienced it firsthand, always put doubt, but always put doubt a priori. Because people who have doubts, people who don't have the truth in their pocket, are the ones who get closest to reality. Those who think they know everything, they have the truth in their pocket. That is called being obtuse. And obtuse people are worse than ignorant people. They may even be culturally elevated, but an obtuse person has no hope because their mindset does not open to new knowledge or to changing incorrect information. They may have 99 correct pieces of information, one wrong, but if you are obtuse with the one wrong, you will never change it and it will remain with you. If instead you have 50% correct information and 50% wrong, but you put doubt, you could reach 100% of the correct thing. Today's reflection, I hope you liked it. See you as always tomorrow at 7. Serial misinformation. As you have seen, I am not talking about conspiracy theories. I am talking about always putting doubt in what you listen to and hear, because almost always it is not reality.